building there. And then they're going to go right up into the iconic Times Square. It is going to be lively, it is going to be bright, and it is going to be the last point where they see a lot of people before the finish line heading into our wonderful Central Park. A few more hills, a little bit more dampness underfoot, but then there's the finish line. Ryan's having on the green.
The same finish line as the TCS New York City Marathon, and the first time ever in a New York Road Runners event, the runners will cross the iconic Brooklyn Bridge. Very cool stuff. So many things to keep an eye on here today. Another member of our broadcast team, Sam Ryan, she joins us now from the starting line in Brooklyn. Good morning, Sam.
Hey, Ryan, let's talk about the pro fields. Lots of depth here on the women's side. Emily Sisson is here. She is the American women's record holder in the marathon, a two-time runner-up here at the NYC Half. Also here is Fiona O'Keefe. She won the Olympic trials last February and is now competing today for the first time since an injury forced her to drop out of the Olympic marathon in Paris. And Dakota Pompane, who was 12th in the Olympics, she was the top American finisher. She is competing as well. So a lot of extremely accomplished athletes are here today at the NYC Half. Ryan, should be a great race. Let's send it back to you.
Yes, it should, Sam. The sun just starting to rise here in Central Park. A little bit of a foggy conditions. How is that going to affect today's runners, Carrie?
Well, we've been wondering if the footing might be a little bit slippery, but it's perfect out with the nice climate. So, yeah, we're good.
Here's the start of the women's race, and off they go. Bex, what's this like? What's that adrenaline? How do you channel that here right out of the chute when you know you've only got 13.1 miles here till the finish line?
Honestly, they are going to probably be going for it a little bit today. There's always the adrenaline, the excitement, and then they are ready to settle in about the first half a mile or so. They'll get into their packs, and they will feel really good about how they are racing.
Well, don't forget, you can watch all of today's events unfold by downloading the all-new New York Road Runners app for live video feeds, leaderboards, course maps, and, of course, to track friends, family members, coworkers, frenemies, exes, nemesises, and anyone you know who's running. It's one new app that works for every New York Road Runners event on the race calendar all year long. Just search NYRR in the App Store. The free app was developed by Tata Consultancy Services.
Absolutely, and don't forget, you do not delete that app after this race because, again, it is one app for all of the New York Road Runners races throughout the year.
We're less than 2 minutes into the start of the women's race. The men's race is coming your way here in just a few moments. We'll check back in with you guys in just a few. In the meantime, for Carrie Bex, I'm Ryan. We'll send it back to you in the studio. Now back here on our live stream, ABC 7NY, ESPN+. Some of the women to watch, Carrie, here right off the top. Who are we looking at today?
Well, we're looking right at Susanna Sullivan right here, who everyone loves to see, the teacher out there leading the way. But Carolyn Gravdal, she is so good. She was third here 3 times and then came back and won last year. She's having her best year in 2024, and she's very excited. She's running this race. She said this race really kicked off her year, and she's getting ready to run the Hamburg Marathon this spring. Also, Lona Selputter, she is also one of these names that we know here in New York. She's a great marathoner, dropping down now to the half marathon. She hasn't run the half marathon here much, but she did run here in the New York City Marathon where she was runner-up in 2022. But her husband says she's fit, she's ready, and she's excited. So definitely one to mention there. And then Sharon Lokedi. Yeah, everyone knows her. She came here in her debut in the marathon in 2022 and won the whole thing. So she's an amazing athlete coming off of her 4th place finish at the Paris Olympic Games. I love her. She loves the streets of New York, and so does the crowd. But Dakota Popain from Minnesota, we actually have the same tattoo. We got our tattoos together from the Olympics. But she was the top finisher at the Paris Olympics and finished 12th there. And an awesome, awesome runner. And Emily Sisson, 2-time runner-up here. She was the American record holder in the half marathon, is the American record holder in the marathon. She's an amazing runner coming now from Providence, where she's been training, and in Ireland. And then Fiona O'Keefe, she's also one of the U.S. Marathon Olympians from Paris. She had some injuries and had to drop out of that race, but she's back here healthy. This is her first race since the Paris Olympics.
The 8-time NCAA champ. All-American, we should say. How about from the women's wheelchair race now? Let's check in on what's going on as we are 11 minutes into the professional women's wheelchair race.
Yeah, a bit of a breakaway. And this is something that really is interesting in the women's wheelchair race. Sometimes it's a pack and sometimes it's a breakaway.
Absolutely. Right now we're just going to see people, as we said, gathering themselves, getting themselves into their rhythm. Right now, we have the amazing Susanna Scaroni coming through this year. Carrie spoke to her today, well, yesterday actually, and she's coming off a second place win at Tokyo earlier this year. She's possibly going for her third win here today.
Yeah, she said she's been feeling really good. She's been training very hard, but hasn't been outside very much because they train in Illinois, so she's been on her rollers. So this was going to be an interesting ride for her, but she's definitely excited, and she loves the field. She gets to know, you know, these athletes train and actually race each other all over the world, so they're very tight. So they're always kind of come back to New York and have this party. It's not just a race for them. No. They love coming back here.
It's a great weekend as well. We have Manuela Shah, who is in the lead at the moment on the women's course. She, as we said, has won 3 times here at the United Airlines NYC Half. She placed 3rd at the TCS New York City Marathon last year, and she is out there right now showing us what she has got in this year's race. Tatiana McFadden, of course, she's been recently focusing on the slightly shorter distances, Carrie, but she is here today to absolutely come back, see whether she can take a win here in New York City.
Yeah, I really like seeing Manuela Shah up here. You know, the last year she's been doing well, but we've seen Manuela Shah have these amazing years where she wins everything.
Absolutely.
And she hasn't quite broken the tape in the last year. So I do think it's interesting to see how hard she's gone out here. She's way out. She doesn't have anyone with her. And it's maybe the old Manuela Shah that we were used to, the one that really takes charge of races.
Exactly. Sometimes it's about the experience that takes you to the finish line first in these races, especially on days like today where the conditions are pretty perfect and lined up for a strong race day.
Well, a lot of people here in New York know Manuela Shah. She won here, as you said, in 2022, but then she's a 3-time winner of the TCS New York City Marathon. They're going to see a lot of the same parts of that course. They're going to know that. So I think that a lot of people out on the streets today will be like, oh, I know that woman's name, and I've seen her, and she loves to race here. So she is also getting ready for the Boston Marathon.
The 10-time Paralympic medalist and 11-time World Championship medalist Manuela Shah of Switzerland trying to unseat the 2-time defending champion Susanna Scaroni, who's going for a 3-peat here this morning. On Thursday, our Brittany Bell caught up with defending women's champ Caroline Grovedahl and women's wheelchair champ Susanna Scaroni. Brittany.
I'm here with the defending women's champions all the way from Norway, Caroline Grovedahl, welcome, and also Susanna Scaroni. Susanna, let's start with you. You know this race very well, like the back of your hand, and you're seeking a 3-peat. How has your training been so far this winter, and how has your training compared to where you were this time last year?
Thanks, it's awesome to be here. I love this race. There's a lot of special parts to it. And I'm really happy to say I was at the Tokyo Marathon 2 weeks ago and I felt great. And so that gives me so much confidence about my winter training going well. And as opposed to last year, coming in with a shoulder injury, last year I don't have that. And so really happy to be here and looking forward to a strong race.
And why do you do so well here in New York?
I love hills. And so I actually don't mind cold weather either. So New York City in March is a good day for me usually.
And Caroline, you had a huge breakthrough last year. What was it about last year that got you that victory?
No, I'm not sure. I started the season with the win here, and also had a great European track season, of course. But yeah, I've run this race 5 times now, and I did great. So I think maybe the same. I like hills and I like cold weather, so maybe that's the thing.
That's why you guys are pros. You like hills. So Caroline, this is your first race of 2025. Are you healthy, and how's your training been going?
Yes, it's my first race. I'm actually training for a marathon, my first marathon in April. So this will be my first race, and also is a part of my build-up for that marathon. So that's exciting.
Now, this half marathon now includes the Brooklyn Bridge. What was your first reaction when you found out that you were going to be running across this iconic landmark here in New York City?
I think it's very cool. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, I think so too. I love the previous bridge, so I'm just like, okay, we'll see what it's like. I am not from here, and so I don't exactly know what to expect, but I'm sure it will be good.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. And once again, your defending champions, Caroline Grovedahl and Susanna Scaroni.
Thank you, ladies. Here's a live look at Manuela Schär, who's creating some separation here, ladies, this morning.
Yeah, definitely interesting to see her off the start line. But we do know that Tatiana McFadden, the amazing Tatiana McFadden, and Susanna Scaroni, they are chasing her. I say Susanna Sullivan because she's in the lead. There's all these S's. That's square on both sides. But yes, Susanna Scaroni obviously knows us. But Tatiana and Susanna have to get going here. They have to use each other to reel Manuela back in.
Yeah.
Too many tongue twisters this
There's
morning.
a lot of,
I think we can all agree on that.
It could be a double Susanna win.
I know,
It very
right?
well could be.
Be pretty cool. But yeah, Manuela Schär looking good here. I think, as I said, just last year just didn't quite have that oomph, and this year she might have it.
We're going to be joining our coverage here on ABC 7 New York. Pedro and Tony, good morning. You are looking at a live look at the professional women's wheelchair, the professional men's wheelchair race, and the professional women's race all underway. And as we welcome in the ABC 7 New York audience back here on our coverage of the United Airlines NYC Half, we're getting ready for the start of the men's race here shortly, the 13.1-mile trek that starts in Brooklyn's Prospect Park and ends right here in Central Park, the very same finish line of the famed TCS New York City Marathon here along in the shadows of the Tavern on the Green, 67th Street and Central Park West. But before we get to the start of the men's race, let's bring in Brittany Bell, who joins us now from Times Square. What's going on, Brittany? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. So I'm here in Times Square where the sky is gloomy, but the lights are bright as always. And this is a pretty big deal because Times Square is only closed to traffic 2 times out of the year. The first, New Year's Eve, I can see the 2025 right behind me. The second for the United Airlines New York City Half Marathon. So just a great opportunity. This is also the start of the Times Square Kids Run. And you can see some of the kids that are already lining up. The first race starts at 7:35. You guys are excited about today? Yeah, so these are a total of 1,500 kids that are going to be participating in the Times Square Kids Race. And one of the races is a mile just out and about, a pretty simple course, but just a great opportunity for all of these kids uniting for one goal, just to get out and get active. Ryan?
You love to see it, Brittany, and how cool for those kids to be in Times Square when it is completely shut down for just the second time other than New Year's Eve. Great stuff. Here's the men's professional race getting set to get started. And Bex, who are we keeping an eye on today?
Well, of course, we're going to be keeping an eye on Conor Mantz standing there with his American record recently made. But there are also a lot of other players in the game today. As we said, Abel Kipchumba, we're going to have him chasing it down. I've got my own Hillary Ball. I've got to be quite honest. I think there's something about him. He's got grit. He's got determination. I think he knows that Conor's going to be going out pretty hard today, more than likely, and he'll be probably ready to follow suit. Also, Patrick Dever, I'm going to give him a shout out because I think he has been training really hard recently. He always training really hard, but there's something in his eyes right now. We'll see whether it comes through today, but I'm going to keep my eye on him as well.
As they wait for the starting gun. Carrie, what's going through their minds right now?
Just breathe, you know, thinking about their race strategy. You can see that Conor Mantz is just, he's ready to get going. And that is how he is. He's intense, but he's methodical and he knows what he needs to do, but he wants to win. He said after he set that American record in Houston just in January, he was really pleased with it, but he was mad about his finish and how, I shouldn't say mad, but he wished that he would have raced a little bit more towards that win and not thought so much about the time. And he came away with an American record. I don't know how you can be mad about that.
Professional athletes, always something to get better on.
Yeah.
Well, here they go, towing the line, hands on watches. Kiptu's ready to pounce there.
Yep. Yes, Mbassa there in the white shirt with the grayish blue bottoms. I think keep an eye on Bia Sambasa. He had the fastest American marathon in 2024, and he is on fire.
And they're off. 4 great races we are keeping track of here this morning at the United Airlines NYC Half. A reminder to our ABC7 audience here in New York, you can download the free New York Roadrunners app to watch uninterrupted video feeds of the professional races for live leaderboards and to track your favorite runners. Just search NYRR in the App Store. Pedro and Tony, that's the story from here on the streets of New York. We'll send it back to you in the studio.
I can't read it. Who?
We've now reached. Plus, there we go. Back here live, checking out the professional men's race. Connor Mantz, Bex and Carey, the new record holder for the U.S. in the half marathon distance.
Yeah, 18 years ago,
18
Ryan Hall
years.
set that record.
Yeah, whose wife is also running today.
Yes.
Give Sarah a shout out. But absolutely, Connor Mantz went for it and it paid off. His finish was grit and grace in a strange way to watch, but I'm so interested to see what he does here today. He had great conditions in Houston. Here, weather is a little bit wet right now underfoot. We're seeing some fog in the air. As you can see, they are sticking together right now, so it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah, and we're looking at the guy in the lead here. Abel Kipchumba came here last year and just ran awesome. He's the 10th fastest half marathoner ever. He's run 58:07. Now that's from 2021, so it's been a little while, but he ran the New York City Marathon last year, finished 8th here. So he loves coming to New York. He's very happy. I saw him last night. He was excited about racing today. Connor Mantz again just spoke to his coach at Istone. He said he's not going to have him fly all the way across the country and not really put it out there, so he's tapered down. He's been running a lot of miles getting ready for Boston, but he's tapered down and he really is looking at this race. You know, he's a competitor. He wants to win. He's not maybe looking at the time so much today, but he wants to win. Yeah, and the next guy, Patrick Dever. This is one you
my
know.
My call right here. So he raced in Paris last year over a shorter distance. He was over the 5,000 meters. He has a very, very quick half marathon personal best of just over 1 hour, which he achieved at Houston also this year alongside Connor Mantz. He does love to run fast, so let's see. Hillary Ball, my other go-to right now as well, also achieved his personal best recently at Houston 2025. Runs the steeplechase, so these hills and this weather, this sort of wet environment might be suiting him very, very well today. Yudai Kiyama. Okay, here we go. He has done some amazing running out in Japan. This is his first time that he's come over, or his first time he's left Japan and coming over to the US today. So I'm very interested to see how he does today. Again, the weather might be similar for him. And we have Woody Kincaid coming in today. He has been a 2-time Olympian. He was at Tokyo and Paris again. This is his half marathon debut, Carrie. He is again a shorter distance runner, really with that 10,000 meters. So we are really hoping that he throws it down today.
What I thought was so funny about Woody Kincaid, lots of people are looking at him. I mean, this is a big debut for him, but he said he's never run before 10 a.m.
Stop.
So, because he's a track athlete, so he runs in the afternoon or evening.
Nice
so he was
life.
like, this is a change, not only for the distance, but the time.
As someone who works the night shift, when my alarm went off at 5 a.m., I thought it was a cruel joke that was being played on me, so I can relate to that.
There he is in the middle of the pack. He's right up here.
He's wide awake, ready to go.
Through.
You know, my favorite stat about, or my favorite nugget, I should say, about Abdel Kipchumba, our defending champion, he's got this distinctive, upright, kind of an arched back running style. It's a result of his previous job carrying 200-pound sacks of maize. You talk about an interesting job to have and something that he has to feel as light on his feet as ever. No 200-pound bag on his back. He's running, and this is why he is our defending champion. He looks like he is the man to beat here today, but a very tight field here this morning.
It is.
And ladies, we've talked too about the conditions. It's a little damp, a little cool. You've got some humidity in the air, some fog. Are these ideal conditions, would you say, for these runners at this point?
You know what? It's interesting. It depends really where these runners train. I would say a lot of the athletes who train in the UK, from personal experience, this is going to be quite nice weather for us here. But if you're used to training in those drier, more mountainous conditions, then perhaps this is not something that you're regularly experiencing. For the cardiovascular side of things, this is fine. The weather is cool. It's not hot and humid. There's no wind, so we're not battling extra elements here. So hopefully, right now, what we're hopefully seeing is that the weather is keeping the athletes cool and they're able to bring out those faster paces. Talking of which, the men's first mile was a 4:29. Let's check in on those wheelchair races right now.
Did you just smile at the camera?
He just knew we were coming straight to him right there. He's like, hi, I am loving this experience.
Yeah.
So they have come off the bridge now, and they are on the schlep. They're on the schlep, you guys.
Chipper is on the schlep.
He's on the schlep.
We're going to get an exact measurement of a schlep in terms of distance. We're going to work on that here for you.
Absolutely. So we see our defending champion there up in first place, and then we have Evan Corral coming in just under a minute behind here. So he gets by himself right now. He is clearly enjoying it, having a great race, smiling away. We know his daughter is here, so probably really driving him towards the finish line right now. And then the women are also off. Manuela Shah leading the women's race. She's been here before. She knows most of this course. Nobody knows all of this course unless they finished it right now.
Well, and she's got a good lead there. Look,
she's got a great lead over Tatiana McFadden and Susanna Scaroni, who we can see, Carrie, are still working together very strong.
Yeah, you know, I think what's interesting now is she is catching some of these guys. This is what gets fun when you are an athlete that has someone to look for. You know, Manuela Shah knows how to run on her own out in these courses, but when she is able to catch up to these guys now, she's got something to focus on, a game to play mentally. But she is so good at what she does. She is pushing very hard and trying to blow that lead open to put this race away. Absolutely. And now on both the men and women's elite side here.
Look at this women's side. I see my fellow UK Callie Hogarth-Thackeray right there coming through. And
she's having such a phenomenal year. I mean, 2024 was good for her, but she went through a lot. Her mom had breast cancer and is still fighting that battle. Yeah. But it was she's kind of getting to that other side, getting through treatment. And Callie Thackeray, we're talking about her right there. She's the one in the purplish top. She's coming from this great marathon where she ran 2:22.
So good,
right? Yeah. And was it the second fastest British marathon ever? Now she's the third fastest half marathoner. In the UK, which is amazing. But the woman I think that a lot of people have been waiting to hear how she's doing is Fiona O'Keefe on the far left, in the orange top. Fiona had a devastating injury going into the Olympics. Tried to start that race and just couldn't do it.
To listen to that body.
Yeah, so she's now healthy and feeling good. But also want to just give Susanna Sullivan, who's in the middle there, a big shout out. She's in the blue. She's this teacher. She's a 6th grade teacher. But she tried to run Houston, and she was really ready to go. And there was a pileup in the very early stages. I think it was in the first 100, 200 meters of the race. And she went down hard, very bloodied from the race, had to run the whole time. And she ran well, but she is in really good shape, and she wants to come and really see where she's at. She had to teach all through Friday.
I was going to say, she came after school on Friday night to New York from Virginia.
Talk about dedication to the craft. They are approaching the Brooklyn Bridge, which, as we said, is the first time ever in a New York Roadrunners race that runners will have the privilege of traversing the iconic Brooklyn Bridge. A very cool aspect to today's course. And our esteemed research team has just handed me this. We were talking about the schlep up the FDR. A schlep is 4 miles today. That is the official length.
The 4-mile schlep.
Yep, that is the official length. So you can
The bridge is in there somewhere.
Wow.
The fog is not helping.
There was me telling all my athletes to make sure they take in the view running on the Brooklyn
and now
Bridge.
look.
And now look. Wow, don't I look
It's
clever.
still pretty cool.
It's
I will
very
say
cool.
that.
But here we go. I mean, you can see now this is the first big incline that they're going to have on this race. And you can see now the pack is going to start to split a little bit. Sharon and Katie there looking really,
she
really
looks
strong.
really smooth.
Callie, she has been training also. She has a really fast 10K time. And I know she's been putting that training into her longer distance training. She spoke to us on the New York Roadrunners Set the Pace podcast about that. It was a very, very awesome mindset about this shorter distances over the longer distances in a funny way. But also, Emma Bates, there she is, coming through.
Lots of great. Emily Sisson is in there. I mean, there's so many good athletes in there. But look at Connor Mance. Now, this is the guy. Look at his stride. That's where he likes it. He likes to be free from everyone and just striding out.
He likes to do that little over-the-shoulder check when he feels like his I was going to say buddies, but maybe they're not right.
Oh, I think
not today.
They're pretty good friends. They want to beat each other.
They're always good friends until the line. So checking in on each other right now. The men came over 2 miles in just over 9 minutes. 9 minutes and 6 seconds. So they are pushing the pace together. These 5 men here working strong. Here are these women. Okay, now they are on the bridge. They're up, and again, you cannot see men.
Like you said, Bex, running in the UK. That's what this feels like today. But there's the shot.
Gosh, look at that bridge. Nearly
How cool is that?
Well, 150 years old, right,
150 years old.
Unreal. That bridge is solid. New Yorkers go over that. I myself go over it every single day. So it is an honor and history in the making to be stepping in these roads right now to complete this race. They have got a really good feeling. I feel like they're all sticking together.
Tell me a little bit about this bridge, because you do run it almost every day. There is a bit of an incline. So like you can see there's just some distance, a little bit of distance, and then obviously they're stretching out. So what does this bridge feel like?
So essentially, I can't say as I've ever run on the road, otherwise I'd probably be arrested here.
But there's a pedestrian side right on the side,
There's a pedestrian side. But yes, the incline is somewhat similar. The Brooklyn Bridge goes up. It's not as steep as the Manhattan Bridge, but it goes up and then it kind of teeters off on the top. And it's a little bit, not necessarily a plateau, but it's that whether you're seeing them right now or just before, they were sort of on the flat before they come on the downhill. So they get to get their breath back. They get to reset those legs before they work into their posterior chain, heading into the downhill here. So they're switching muscle groups, everyone who's listening at home. That is essentially on the uphill, you're driving pretty strong with those quads, and on the downhill, you want to be stabilizing through your glutes and your hamstrings. So this is 5 miles in.
I like this strategy, though. They're getting up this hill, but now they're going to go to the flat on the FDR. So they're going to have some time, and you're going to see some big moves made when there's some flats, and then obviously maybe wait a little until they get to Times Square. But right now, this is really showing us who's got that strength and the grit to want to lead this race. Like, a lot of things can happen. We're still early on.
Still so early on. Now, checking in on the men's there. Again, the lead 5 sticking together still right here.
Now, kind of all the big 5 that we thought, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we have Hillary Bohr, who's been on the podium here at this race. We have Wesley Kiptoo, who is such a good athlete. So many people know him from the NCAAs when he was so good, always leading, wearing his gloves, whether he was indoors on the indoor track or on
it's his signature style.
It is his signature. And actually, Hillary Bohr and Wesley Kiptoo were training partners when they were in Iowa. So really, really kind of a fun story there that they're now professional athletes being able to push each other. But Patrick Dever in the orange, kind of yellowish top there, he's a guy that I really think is on the up and coming. When he ran in Houston against Connor Mance, he said it was so fun to be in that race with him, but now he's got this new sense of confidence. He wasn't that far behind him, but he said, I want to now be able to be right up there with him, and he was going to go for it today. He said, I'm not going to just let it happen. I'm going to go for it and take control and then maybe push himself a little bit harder in the early stages.
Exactly, Carrie, and that's the thing that all athletes, whether you're professional or you are an everyday runner, every race you do, you learn something. So Patrick has taken what he's learned from the Houston race. He was under a minute behind Connor, in all honesty. So he has obviously watched his race, he's watched Connor's race, and he's going to bring it today and see what he can learn today from it. As you can see, he's right on Connor's heels there.
Well, and I like that he's committed, right? I mean, you see now there's quite a bit of a a distance between the front pack and the second pack. And for Patrick Dever to think that he's got something to really prove to himself too, he's got to put himself in it. And it might not happen that he's there through the entire 13.1, but he might get a little further than he did in Houston. So that's a cool thing that we're watching right here. We're witnessing maybe a big day for him.
Conor Mantz, your leader, neck and neck with the defending champ Abdel Kipchumba. On Thursday, our Brittany Bell had a chance to chat with the reigning U.S. record holder in the half marathon, Conor Mantz.
In January, he shattered the American half marathon record, which stood for 18 years. Right now, I'm joined with Conor Mantz. How are you doing today? And what did breaking that record teach you about what your body is capable of?
It taught me a lot, actually. I kind of had an injury heading into it, so I learned that, no matter, as long as you're working hard, sometimes it's not about whether everything's going perfect, but that if you're working hard, good results can follow. So.
And is it fair to say that you're in the best shape of your life?
I think it's fair to say that. I don't want to, say it and then run terrible this weekend, but I think I'm in the best shape of my life.
And you are clearly the top U.S. man on the road this year so far. How do you top that all in 2025?
How do you top it all? That's a great question. I think trying to prove that I don't just belong as the top U.S. man, but I wanted to be one of the top in the world. You have some of the best athletes in the world. They're from Kenya and Ethiopia and different parts of East Africa, and so trying to compete with those athletes is where I could top it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, and good luck on Sunday. Once again, Conor Mantz.
Mantz, so ho-hum. Yeah, I had a bit of an injury, then just went out and set the new American half record time in the half marathon. 59:17, a blistering performance to finish second at the Houston half. Mantz, of course, starred at BYU, claiming back-to-back NCAA Division I cross-country titles in 2020 and 2021. That's where he became the first American to win that event since our pal Galen Rupp did it back in 2008. So Mantz with a nice history bringing himself here today to New York, and he's off to a good start here so far, ladies.
So when you talk about him having a little bit of an injury going into that American record, that's what his coach said. Maybe he had a little bit more rest going into that race than he does this one, because he's putting in these big mile weeks. He's doing 130-mile weeks, 120-mile weeks. So he's had to come down. He does taper down. He did taper down for this race. But that's what is interesting, right? This might be a little bit more of a race where he feels that fatigue of marathon training. But he is such a competitor that he will fight through. They call it the Mantz pain cave. I mean, he loves going there.
He certainly does.
Abel Kipchumba looks good too, doesn't he?
He looks so good.
The
Women
defending
are looking
champ.
strong.
Hillary Bohr, also pictured in this group that's out front and center. One of the cooler storylines. He grew up in Kenya, began his career as a pole vaulter, long jumper, high jumper, before investing his time in the steeplechase. Started Iowa State, became an All-American, and he has since joined the U.S. Army and gained U.S. citizenship. He currently serves as a sergeant at Fort Carson in Colorado Springs, and we thank him for his service. Conor Mantz, the leader at the moment. The pack of five separating themselves from the rest of the field, setting up for one heck of a finish here in Central Park. We're about to join our friends at ABC7 New York. We'll be joining that coverage here momentarily. You're watching our live stream feed here on ABC7NY and ESPN+. A closer look at all four professional races going on currently at the moment. As we've talked about, foggy conditions, a little wet, a little humid here this morning on the streets of New York. Pedro and Tony, good morning. We are back here watching continuing coverage of the United Airlines NYC Half. You see the professional men, women on the course as we speak, as well as the professional men and women wheelchairs as well. As we know, 2025 has already been a crazy fast year in distance running, and we're seeing more examples of that here today. One of the reasons we're extra excited about today's festivities is what's going on in Times Square, which is closed for just the second time this year outside of New Year's Eve, and that's where Brittany Bell joins us live. Good morning, Brittany.
Good morning, Ryan. So I'm bringing in Mason, who's the youth ambassador for today's race. Mason is an 8th grader in Manhattan. Your twin sister's also running. Mason, you're only in 8th grade, but you're a pro. You've run 12 youth races so far. What do you like so much about running?
Running, it's really just like a happy place for me. I can blow off all my steam. It's very calming and peaceful. It's just a great exercise, so it's really a win-win for me. Everything's great.
And what is your goal for today's race? Do you have a particular time in mind?
I really want to run a sub 6 mile. I've been focusing on that, but I also just want to make sure my mind's really in the game and I can break a mental barrier.
Sub 6, that is awesome. Now, last question for you. Let's say there's some kids who are a little nervous about running, who want to start getting more active. What advice do you have for them?
I just think, I know it's hard to get out and, lace your shoes up, but once you get out there, it's a great experience and great opportunity for everyone, and it's just great to do.
And one more question. Your twin sister's running. Are you guys pretty competitive with each other?
Yeah, we are. Sometimes we fight, but it's really love. It's really love.
But you get that energy out when you're out on the race.
Definitely.
All right, thank you so much for joining us, Mason. Let's send it back to you, Ryan.
Brittany, Mason, thank you. Some 1,500 kids participating in the New York Roadrunners Kids Race here this morning. You were looking at the professional men. Connor Mantz, the reigning record holder in the U.S. half marathon. He ran a sub 1 hour half back in Houston. And he looks like he is the guy to beat here today as the defending champion. Abel Kipchumba, right on cue, goes ahead and takes the lead here at the United Airlines NYC Half. We're keeping an eye on all 4 professional races. And, of course, you can watch all the festivities on our live feed, ABC7NY, as well as over on ESPN+, as well as on the New York Roadrunners app as well. Pedro and Tony, we will send it back to you in the studio. Back here on our live stream, ABC7NY, ESPN+. Let's check in on the women's race. A cluster of about 6 women here have separated themselves from the rest of the field, Bex.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Kelly Hogan-Thackeray at the lead there. They came through the 10K in 32:13 there, Ryan. We've got Sharon Lacades holding on strong, and then we've got Diane Van Es, European 5K record holder, 3-time national champ.
Fifth here last year, so one of our top returners.
Absolutely. We're looking at Fiona O'Keefe also looking really, really strong. And there's the wonderful Emma Bates as well in that pack, which is beautiful to see. We're just looking out to see who else is in the back of the pack right there. But they're all looking great. They're nearly at the 7-mile marker. So we are just under the halfway point. On
6.1 miles to go. And Beck, you talked about Fiona O'Keefe. Good to see her running well. The last time we saw her, of course, she was limping in Paris, made it just 1 mile in the Olympic marathon due to a femoral stress fracture. 7 months later, here she is in the lead pack on the streets of New York. You love to see it.
We do. I mean, this is such a short career at times. You get to be at my age and you think how fast it goes by. And so it's so nice to see Fiona O'Keefe and all of these ladies healthy and ready to go. But Callie Thackeray, let's just talk a little bit. She had a marriage last year. Her husband is in the men's race, Nick. He coaches her. They have now bought a home in Flagstaff, but they split time between the UK and the States. She ran under 15 minutes indoors this year. What I love about her is she is so good at everything that she does right now. She's in the 5K, the 10K, the half. She's awesome at the marathon. She's just got such range.
She really does. Back on the men's here, so it's sort of like a battle between Connor and Abel Kipchumba right now. It looked like Connor just took a minute there, let Abel take the lead, or not let, but you know what I mean. They're playing a little game together here, which could be something that they do often. You know, athletes work together to have success.
But Connor Mantz never likes to be in second. He just always likes to be up front. Yeah. He pushes, and you can see that. Even when Abel kind of went to the lead there for that little bit, Connor just wanted to take over. I think he gets his sense of confidence up there. Yeah. But one guy we got to watch, Wesley Kiptoo on the back. Yeah. He's starting to fall off just a little bit, but you can see the urgency almost in Connor Mantz. It's like he's taking control of this downhill, and he's really trying to push the pace.
Yeah, he is. You can tell that he's pulling the other guys along with him here. They are sticking with him. They are ready for it. They are trained well, and they are all fit and healthy in order to hold these paces. It's going to be very interesting once we turn off the FDR and onto that heart of Manhattan run, when it starts to get a little bit more sensory overload, there starts to be more lights, there's more people. Right now they're in silence. There is no spectators on the FDR right now, so they are literally listening to each other's feet, which is something athletes do to hear their own paces. They're used to this in training. All right, heading over to the wheelchair races. We are watching, we got our
Manuela Schar there on
Manuela
the
Schar
left.
and
Right through Times Square.
Yes, how cool is that?
Hearing the love, hearing the support, seeing the kids races going on as well.
Look at Yurt.
And Yurt is into Central Park.
Yep.
He is here, ready to go. He is under a mile from the finish line.
Well, we know his background is in triathlon, but last year he came here and had his debut in New York in the half, and he did so well. He loved it. He cracked the tape and just was fired up. I mean, it was a big summer, right, with the Paralympics and the Olympic Games, so this really set him up for a wonderful summer. But he did great at the triathlon and the Paralympics, and he also did great in the marathon. So it really did show that he was in good fitness and just so excited to win here, and now coming back with one of his daughters. It's really cool.
So cool. All right, we've got Diane Van Es. She's taking the lead here, just checking over her shoulder, I'm guessing, to her teammate there, Emma Bates, to see where she is at right now. And then at the back of this pack right now, we've got Amy Eloise Neal from the UK. She's had a fantastic run recently. She's been really kind of coming up through the UK ranks.
Isn't it kind of interesting to see when you have these clusters of athletes from the same country? I mean, there's really the synergy now. The UK has a great middle distance, and now it's bleeding into the distance, right, with Callie and obviously Eloise right there. They're two in the top, but also in America, too, we're seeing that. So many great athletes, but there's just this awesome energy right now in both countries.
Both countries all working together. And here we are. The final stretch of the race. Carrie is looking over her shoulder to see whether we can see them coming in. We've got about just over a half a mile before we see the finish line tape broken for the first time today.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's used to winning, right? He won the Paralympics, and he raced there. Then he went and won the Paris Marathon in 2024. I mean, he is so good at finishing and also pushing. I mean, he's very tall, so he's got a little bit of an advantage on the hills and on the downhills. He can coast really, really fast, and he's had a little bit of that today. You know, we've had a little bit of ups and downs and flat. This course is awesome for all of the athletes, but especially for Yurt.
I'm looking out the finish line to see whether his daughter and family are down there. But there we go, 400 meters to the finish line. He's going to be taking his position now. We're starting to hear them literally behind us. The bikes are peeling off to let him have his moment of glory to come over the finish line. The crowd's here. Yep. Here we go.
Move out of the way. Yurt Schipper is making his way.
Schipper is here. He is not going to beat his last year's time, but that does not matter. A win is a win. He's worked so hard. One proud dad about to come in to the finish line.
The 47-year-old pride of the Netherlands approaching the finish line here in Central Park, well ahead of the pack, about to defend his title here as United Airlines NYC Half champion.
Coming all the way from the Netherlands. He has one of his 3 girls here. You know, pretty young career on the roads, but he is showing us who's boss today.
And there he is, Yurt Schipper for the 2nd year in a row. The men's champion in the wheelchair division of the NYC Half.
That is amazing.
Ladies, when he looked at the camera earlier, we knew he was in total control. Well aware of the situation, and he was head and shoulders above the competition here today. Yurt Schipper, a hug from his daughter, and that's what these moments are all about.
Yeah, back looking at the women's race. I mean, Fiona O'Keefe, this is what we saw at the Olympic trials last February. If anyone watched, that was her debut marathon. She took command of that race later in the later stages of that race and just crushed her first marathon ever to make the Olympic team. I mean, just a little bit of pressure, right? Like going there, everyone was watching her because she had run so well at the Houston Half. She ran 1:07 at the Houston Half and then went and won the whole Olympic trials. and then just had that devastating injury. But we've heard that her training has been awesome since, I think, August. So she's had some time to work herself back, but she had many, many weeks in the pool, non-impact. She couldn't put any impact on that leg, and it was a real hard injury to come back, but she came back pretty quick from such a devastating femoral stress. Fractures take a long time, and you know, she came back fast and she looks good.
7 months later, here she is. It's pretty incredible.
Testament to listening to your body in the moment, not pushing through for the sake of it, realizing there's many races but one body. I like to remind people of that all the time. We have some news on the women's front right now, though, as well. We have one athlete that has, we've lost one athlete today already.
Yeah, Lona Salpeter is out.
Yep, she's out today. But we have the wonderful men coming through. We've got 10K here for the men. The
Abdel
men
Kipchumba,
leading
our defending
the way.
champ.
Men
Connor
10K.
Mance right behind him. Hillary Bohr, Patrick Dever, part of the lead pack. A crispy 27:48.
They're running very fast,
10K,
everybody.
crispy.
I mean, they are right. They're still under 59-minute pace. Like, that's under American record pace. I mean, I even hate to say it because I'm like, really? Is that happening? Are we going to see another potential American record? We're for sure going to see an event record. We can't say course record necessarily, but we can say event record because the courses have changed. So this is a new course, so we will see a new event record potentially. We'll see for sure a new course record because it's a new course. There we go.
We knew what you were trying to say.
I know.
We're going to check in here on the finish of the women's wheelchair race. The defending champion was Susanna Scaroni. She had won here back-to-back years. And right now, Manuela Schar is out in front and headed to the finish line here at 67th and Central Park West.
Taking that final downhill in.
And that's got to feel so good at this juncture of the race.
Well, Manuela Schar did so well in the 800 at the Paralympics that this is not surprising to see her have such a great finish here because she has speed, but she's looked good from the start today.
She's looked so good. This is going to be very close to her personal best of 53.10, this finish line. We are, where is the final couple of turns here? We'll be seeing them very, very shortly. There's the bikes just peeling off ahead of the finish line here. She came out from the start of this race with a mission. And I feel like she is held so strong. She's shown up today to show us all that she's here and she is very much fit and healthy and ready to rock.
Well, Susanna Scaroni told me that she needed to get out in front of Manuela Schar to be able to pull her. She wanted to pull her so she could pull that sprint out of her. And she didn't get off the line like that today. Nope. Manuela Schar was the one that got off the line. She won the gold at the Paris Paralympic Games in the 800. She was silver in the 400. And here she comes in her final kick.
This is going to be so close to her personal best.
Woo!
What a fantastic day for Manuela Schar.
The three-time TCS New York City Marathon champion. She won the event here, the United Airlines NYC Half, back in 2022. And now the pride of Switzerland, set to break the tape here again this morning.
Well, she's so good over all distances. She's been runner-up at the Boston Marathon, the London Marathon. She's won here. She's getting ready for some more spring marathons. But look, it is all her today in this NYC Half. Here she comes, Ryan.
Manuela Schar approaching the finish line more than 2 minutes quicker than when she won this race back in 2022. So well ahead of her pace. An impressive performance here today for Manuela Schar. And she is your 2025 United Airlines NYC Half champion, Manuela Schar. Congratulations, break that tape.
She's back.
She is back.
Beautiful.
That smile says it all.
Yeah, she holds her emotions close to her chest. She's not one to really celebrate and really be, you know, out there, but you can tell that this is a sense of relief. Like, after winning in Paris, I think she got her confidence back, and she looks really sharp right now.
56:12 was her time in 2022, 54:09 here today, so more than 2 minutes quicker 3 years later. Back to the professional men and women's races.
Seeing Sharon Lokedi now touch the front for the very first time. She knows how to run the streets of New York, as we said, when she won here at the TCS New York City Marathon. She's also done very well over the 10K in June that the New York Roadrunners puts on.
Yeah, she loves that race.
Yeah, she said this is her new city. I think she wrote it on Instagram the other day. She's like, I'm moving here.
She's moving here.
She loves the mountains too, so she loves to train in Flagstaff. But you know, she had such an interesting story going to the Olympics. She was chosen as the alternate, and then about 6 weeks before they said, no, we need you on this team. And then she goes and she leads the marathon in the final stages at the Olympics, and then finishes 4th, which obviously is heartbreaking because she didn't get a medal, but she was thrilled with it. It was an amazing run.
An amazing performance. We spoke to her very recently on Set the Pace, and
so good.
She is full of life, full of energy. She's been loving her time out in Kenya training with the teams out there. She says it's her time where she can just do nothing but running. Where it's quiet and it's calm. You wake up, you eat, you sleep, you run, and it's on repeat for some time. Then she comes back and she trains kind of a little bit differently here in the US. But the juxtaposition of the two is what brings you this fantastic athlete right here.
When she's here, she has professional duties, right? They get her kind of around with her shoe company. But she's the oldest of 4 girls in her family. And she said on Sundays when she's in Kenya, she goes home. And you know, if you guys haven't listened to your podcast, Set the Pace, the New York Roadrunners podcast with Bex. It is amazing. And I was laughing on my run out loud. If anyone saw me, they were probably like, what is going on? It was so cute.
Oh, she also just celebrated her birthday. So she really is. Yep, she really is on a high right now. But as you can see, Fiona O'Keefe showing us again right now the beauty of rehab and recovery. Callie holding with the team there, and is that Diane Van Ness right there behind them? Yeah, so the pack has slimmed down to 4 women.
Couple of things with Diane Van Ness. Let's talk about her 5th last year. She switched coaches just a couple of months ago, and her training is definitely different. She said she's trying to figure things out a little bit, but she's running really well. She ran the European record on the roads for the 5K a couple of weeks ago, so very fit.
Yeah.
Diane Van Ness won the silver medal on the track at the European Championships last year at the 10,000 meters. Ran a lightning fast road 5K last month in Monaco. 14:39, crispy as Bex likes to say.
That is really crispy.
That's my new
14:39 on the roads, everybody. But she says she loves New York, and she says she loves the organizers here. She feels calm, and she wants to run fast. But look here at the men's race.
Look at this men's race. So we've seen Patrick Diva has dropped back there a little bit and left the 3 men at the front here. We have Kipchumba, Mens, and Kiptoo fighting for the lead. Patrick's not that far behind. He's not that far behind, but he has definitely separated himself from it. They're going to have the last few rolling hills here before very shortly they're going to be turning at the UN building and into the heart of Manhattan.
And really no surprise here, ladies, in terms of the 3 men who are out in front of the pack.
I'm shocked not to see Hillary Ball up here.
Oh,
he's there. Yeah, Hillary's right behind Abel.
He's just tucked in.
I think this is a smart move by Abel.
Oh, there he is.
Kipchumba, he's kind of becoming more of this marathoner. He's focusing on the marathon a little bit more. He has 2 speedsters behind him. Even though Connor Mance is great over the marathon, it was 8th at the Olympic Games, he drops down still in distance. He ran a 1,500 meters on the track last year. He's very good at switching things up, so he's got this speed, this sharpness. But Hillary Bohr, everyone in this trio right here, they need to be worried about his kick. He's so good, and he's coming here hungry. He did not run the USATF Half Marathon Championships a couple weeks ago the way he wanted to, and so he's hungry to win. And now breakaway on the women's
here
race.
We go. So last year we were watching Caroline Grovedahl. A bit later than now, she made her breakaway from the pack. Right now we are seeing Sharon Lokedi. She has broken away from the women's lead pack, heading through Times Square very, very shortly here. She's looking phenomenal.
Lokedi, the 31-year-old Kenyan who lives in Flagstaff, Arizona. This was moments ago when she broke away from the rest of the field, Carrie.
Yeah, I think Sharon Lokedi, she knows she just is really, really smart with her training and also with her racing. You know, she doesn't make these moves that she can't handle. She's been thinking about this for the last couple miles. You can tell, just kind of making her way towards the front, sitting, relaxing, and then this is a decisive move here. It wasn't just like, oh, I'm going to put a little surge in. No, I'm making a big move here. She's got that strength of the marathon, but she also is very good over 10,000 meters as well.
Absolutely.
Look at this lead.
Bigger and bigger. She got to the 10-mile marker, Carrie. She knew she felt good, and she is trusting.
I was just about to ask if that was by design at this point in the race that she made that move.
I'm not her coach. I wish.
But if you were her coach, you would tell her that was the time to do it?
But I would think it was very pertinent at the exact 10-mile marker where she has read her body, read her performance so far, as Carrie said, reflected on her training and said, I've got this. Yeah. I've got this. She's made such a gap right there between the rest of the women running that I would say it's going to be very difficult for any of them to come near catching her up. There are some more hills, you know, that could play into a factor here, but I think Sharon is going to be filled with confidence heading through Times Square and up. Going to see who is just behind her leading.
Kenya's Sharon Lokedi burst onto the scene here on the streets of New York, winning her TCS New York City Marathon debut back in 2022, becoming just the 8th athlete to win the race in their true 26.2-mile debut. She is no stranger to this course, and you're seeing it right now as she has opened up a massive lead in the professional women's race.
Ryan, 10 miles in 51:34 for the women. So she's
Put that into perspective for us. How good of a time is that?
Incredible.
51:34 for the women. Well, it's still under 1:08 pace, I believe. So, but I just want to mention on the men's side, we talked a little bit about the American record. It is not, this course is not course record or American record legal. No. So we got to remember that. But they are running very fast.
We're going to be joining our friends here at ABC 7 in New York in just a few. So is it easier to be Sharon Lokedi, or is it easier to be one of the guys here grouped up because you know exactly what pace you have to run on because you can see your competition right here?
That's a really good question. Sharon, I would think her mental fortitude is so strong that running by herself at this point for the last 3 miles of this race isn't going to play on her strength. I think the men are playing a game here. You can see there's a constant battle, flip-flop.
About to join our friends at ABC 7 here in New York. And we'll do so with 2 great races going on at the moment. Pedro and Tony, good morning. You can see how thick the fog is here in New York City this morning. That is Sharon Lokedi of Kenya on the left, making her way through Times Square, which is closed down for just the 2nd time of the year. The only other time, of course, New Year's Eve. And 3 men have separated themselves from the pack here on the professional women's side. In Abdel Kapchumba, our defending champion, Hillary Bohr, and American Connor Mance on the right. The wheelchair races are already finished. We're awaiting the kids race. Some 1,500 children are about to participate in that in Times Square, and that's where we find Brittany Bell. Hi, Brittany.
Good morning. I'm joined by the CEO of New York Roadrunners, Rob Semmelcare, and his 16-year-old daughter, Julia. Rob, you've been leading this organization for a couple of years, but on a personal level, what is it like to see over 27,000 athletes and kids get together for a common cause?
It's amazing. I mean, our mission at New York Roadrunners is to create healthier lives and stronger communities through the transformative power of running. And you see it on a day like today. I mean, 5 years ago, all these folks, all of us, we were all hiding in our houses, right? None of us could get together and do anything. So many people started running during the pandemic, and they've stayed with it, and that's why we see this incredible growth of running here in New York City. And today is a day to really celebrate that.
And Julia, you participated in the youth race before. Do you have a particular goal in mind today, and what do you like so much about running?
I don't have any goals today. I just want to have a fun race. I haven't been running too much lately, so I just want to, I think, run a 7 mile, maybe 7 to 8 mile. And running I love because you can just go and it's so free and you can do it wherever you want. And there's no specific rules to it. You just run how you feel and it's so much fun. You have so much fun doing it.
And how does it feel to pass on that love of running to your kids?
I love it. I mean, and you see that out here with so many people. All the adult runners are going to run right past this kids race today. And you got a lot of parents over there and a lot of kids like us over here. And so running really is a great family sport. I ran cross country in high school. She now runs cross country in high school. So it's something you really can't pass on to the next generation.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Rob and Julia, and good luck for today's race. Back to you.
Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Rob. Sharon Lokedi of Kenya trains in Flagstaff. She is the woman to beat. Less than 2 miles until the finish line here in Central Park. We'll have the finish of that race and so much more coming up on ABC7. And you can watch the live feed of the race on ABC7NY, ESPN Plus, and on the New York Roadrunners app. Pedro, Tony, we'll send it back to you in the studio. Back to the live stream. The professional men still a
battling.
3-pack here at the top.
They are taking turns. They are battling to and fro for this lead position, whether they're drafting a little bit, Karen.
Right.
Whether
Well,
they're
here's the 10-mile marker
energy.
where Sharon Lokedi made her move.
Let's see. Let's
and now we'll see what happens on the men's side.
Absolutely.
Well, and this is where Hillary Bohr, who's in third right now, really needs to latch on, because last year they separated from him right here, and you know he remembers that. He doesn't want to let go right here, so he's got to regroup. He's got to hang on. Look at that grit that Connor Mance has. You can see it all over his face.
Literally.
Yeah, I mean, he is just in this. He looks great. I mean, this is what it's all about, just seeing how hard you can possibly go. And Abel looks good. I mean,
he looks great.
He's been looking at his, but he has been coughing, which I don't like. I'm wondering if there's a little bit of distress maybe going on, but he's been coughing a little bit. So just like little things like that I see, and I'm wondering if he's okay.
Yeah. He's definitely looking over his shoulder, very aware that Connor is right on his heels. They are both in training for Boston Marathon this year.
A 3-pack at the top of the men's race as they race past Grand Central Station here in Manhattan. Times Square soon upon them, and then ending right here in Central Park.
Well, Abel has taken control of this race. He's really tried to put a move on. I do like that he's doing this, because this is exactly a Connor Mance style race.
It is.
He's just going to find himself and put himself in a race right where he needs to be, and he's going to hunt as long as he can. Now, Abel is very good, so he's going to have to hunt for a long time. But look at Hillary Bohr starting to lose. And Sharon Lokedi just continues to build that lead.
So we're less than 3 miles to the finish for the men. If you're Connor Mance, how are you playing this right now as you're right behind our defending champion?
I think right now they're going to be reading each other. As you can see, Abel is constantly, like every 3 or 4 steps, he is looking over his shoulder to check on Connor's performance, to check on his form probably, to see whether he's showing any signs of dropping back. Abel will be very aware that Hillary Bohr has gone from their grouping now, and it'll be very interesting to see after this downhill, before they head straight into Times Square, how they stick together or how they separate now, because Connor is looking, I was gonna say, Connor's looking like he's ready to give it a little bit of a kick. He looked like he dropped for a second there to gather his energy, and
they're playing games right now. Abel Kipchumba is not wanting to run in a straight line. He's trying to see if he can break him. And he's really, I like what he's doing right now. I mean, I love Connor Mance, and he knows that. I'm a big fan. But what he's making Connor Mance do right now is think and do more than he wants to do, which is just run and get through. So whatever, but is Abel Kipchumba wasting energy? That is the big thing too. So there's
he's zigzagging to get Connor off of his draft in many ways. He doesn't want Connor taking any of his energy, but at the same time, as he's crossing the pathways here, is that side to side step taking anything out of him? But right now, it's kind of paying off. The gap is getting bigger between the two of them as they are moving. And if anything, to me, Abel is looking stronger and stronger as that gap gets wider.
But this is what Connor Mance, he took a little look back. I don't love that. But Connor Mance has such a good mentality, and he is so great over finishing. So if he can just hang on through this tough patch, as we're looking at Sharon Lokedi, I mean, just smooth, looks easy. Getting ready to run the Boston Marathon now in a few weeks here.
We heard heard, Carrie, that her lovely mom, Rose, is going to be traveling to Boston to watch Sharon race.
It's so fun to have her mom. Her mom was here one year, and just, it was so cool. And for her to be able to travel to come see her daughter in Boston, every single time her mom comes, she elevates her game.
She does. Yeah, she does.
Speaking of elevating her game, she just ran the 11th mile in 4:46.
That's crispy.
That is crispy. Like her fellow countrywoman, Helen O'Beary, who, of course, won the TCS New York City Marathon in 2022 and the NYC Half in 2023. Sharon Lokedi poised to win both the marathon in 2022 and the half here today. Less than a mile from the finish line here in Central Park, and she is cruising.
You know, speaking of this camaraderie and this energy, you know, the Kenyan athletes, especially Helen O'Beary, Paris Jepchirchir, the women that went to the Olympics, they have this bond.
They do.
They, you know, Helen O'Beary trains in Colorado.
Yep.
And Sharon is in Flagstaff and then in Kenya. And, you know, they text, they have fun, they're laughing. They're such competitors, but they're good friends. And it just goes to show you can kind of have it all.
You can, and they are really showing us how women can raise each other up within the sport and also compete against each other.
You know what's interesting to me is I haven't seen her look back once. Do you think she knows how big her lead is right now?
I do think she knows.
She ran 10 miles side by side with them. She will have felt their energy. She will be very confident that when she made that kick, she's fine. She's got it. She's also, you can see it in her face. This, you know, it's clearly a stressor. Running is a stressor on the body. But she looks very calm at this pace. It looks like this is a pace that she is very comfortable with achieving right now. She is, I would think about, where are we? About half. Yeah, we've got just about half a mile
to go.
To go. Here.
Oh, Abo Kipchumba is definitely putting on a little bit of hurt there, right?
He's pushing it. I'm going to give him props here for that little game that he played. I think it was a very interesting tactic for him before they headed into this uphill here, where we've seen other people sort of drop back. This is where the disparity of all of the kind of paces gets very prevalent in races, in this race specifically. We've got 2 more hills, I would say, before the finish, and so Connor's really going to have to dig deep.
Going to have to dig.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, Sharon Lokedi, just an amazing athlete. She's not run a ton of half marathons.
No.
Her PB comes from 2023 when she ran Great North, which you know is such a fast course.
So fast.
But she is a different athlete, I think, now. She's definitely not the same as she was a couple years ago. She's so smart. She's raced now a lot of these longer races. But yeah, Fiona O'Keefe here.
Carrie, yeah, she is.
Looking good.
Fiona O'Keefe, she might podium here as well. A few hundred, meters. Well, yeah, a few hundred meters to go to the finish line. She's still looking really, really strong here.
Yeah.
Sharon on that downhill.
And we should point out, ladies, the event record, 107.21 from Helen O'Beary.
That's going to be close.
Ooh.
It's going to be real close as she approaches the finish line here in Central Park.
But again, different courses, right?
Different courses,
event record.
but the event record.
It gets a little clumsy, and it's not American record eligible or world record eligible because of just a little bit of the decline and things like that. But we're having a great day regardless.
Yes, we are.
I shouldn't be biased.
A Kenyan holds the record, and another Kenyan might be about to break it here.
Yep.
0.2 miles away from the finish.
Woo. She's having a wonderful day. She's going to feel good. I mean, coming in with big mileage, getting ready for a spring marathon. This is not an easy race to run.
Nope.
She made it look easy, though.
She
sure did. Thank you.
She really did. What a sight. She's got to be one of my favorite all-time women athletes.
She was at the expo meeting everybody there. They all love Sharon Lokedi. She just is a breath of fresh air. She really is an awesome person and runner.
And how she walks in heels when she runs this fast.
Here she
That's
comes.
what really impressed you. Sharon Lokedi, our 2022 TCS New York City Marathon champion, making her way to the finish line. And she is going to do it with a new event record. Sharon Lokedi.
Look at that time.
Your 2025 champion at the NYC Half.
And a new
event record by about 18 seconds.
Wow.
Breaking the mark set by her fellow countrywoman Helen Obiri just 2 years ago here at the United Airlines NYC Half. Deep exhales, all smiles.
All smiles, and here
It's
comes
Fiona O'Keefe.
Yeah, she's got to move, though, because Callie Thackeray is coming hard.
Callie Thackeray is trying to chase her
but
down.
I think Fiona O'Keefe has got it.
I think so.
Second place. Welcome back.
The two of them done so well today.
Second place on
Yes, go Callie!
And right behind her,
Absolutely brilliant.
Great Britain.
Fiona O'Keefe in second. Callie Hauger Thackeray finishing third.
Three absolutely phenomenal performances by these women coming together.
All under 1:08.
All under 108.
Very fast.
Yep.
Fiona O'Keefe, just 7 months after breaking a bone at the Paris Olympics, finishing second in the NYC Half.
And Amy Eloise Neal just came over the finish line as well in fourth place. And then we see Emma Bates coming in.
Emma Bates, one of the several runners based in Colorado. Like a true New Yorker, she posted to Instagram on Friday that she hit Shake Shack. You got to fuel up for the 13.1 miles, ladies.
I love that.
Interesting, interesting. All right, we are seeing back on the men's professional race here, that gap between Abel Kipchumba and Connor Mance is grown, but you can see Connor
He's just
right
working,
there.
isn't he?
He is working. He is really trying with all of his might to catch up with the reigning champ here. He's looking over his shoulder, checking in on the distance between the two of them. He is aware that Connor is there.
Yep.
But
it's under a mile to go
it's
here.
under a mile. We've got some rolling hills here.
We have not had back-to-back winners on the men's side since 2008 and 2009. Tadis Tola of Ethiopia, the last two-time winner. Emily Sisson,
And Susanna
American,
Sullivan
finishing
there
here
too.
on the left.
Yep.
Susanna Sullivan as well.
Yep, under the 70-minute marker. Fantastic. Here we go.
So this is where it's going to get a little bit interesting for Connor Mance because there's some more turns. So Abel Kipchumba can start to hide a little bit as he navigates through the final stages here of the race because he will have the ups and downs, but the turns.
He is looking almost resigned to be finished. I would say Abel Kipchumba, he just had a little look about him
He's ready.
of, okay.
Well, although Connor Mance, I think I don't know if it's just the camera angle, but he's still there. Almost looks like he's closed a little bit.
Yeah, he's strong on the hills, Connor. He really does. He has grit.
The
and he
thing
gets
that
into
I
it.
love about Connor Mance is his heart. I mean, he just wants it so bad. Not that Abel Kipchumba doesn't, but you can see he wears his heart on his
He
sleeve,
does.
right?
He wants to be one of the fastest men of all time, not
He
just
really does.
American.
Yep.
So here we go. Let's see if Connor uses this downhill to catch up, make some distance closer between him and Kipchumba.
We had an event record on the women's side, and we may have another one here on the men's as well. The record is 59:24, set back in 2007.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
History today on deck at the United Airlines NYC Half. He looked back. He knows it's his to lose now. Our defending champion, Abel Kipchumba.
You know, he hasn't raced very much. His last race was when he ran the marathon. So he doesn't run a ton of
Like his
races.
style.
And, you know, Connor Mance, he likes to race almost so much that I think sometimes his coach has to say, hey, let's just ease off, let's train, and let's not be one to toe every single line that we possibly can. But only 7 seconds right here.
Only 7
He's got to go,
seconds.
though. There's not much time left.
Carrie, you and I know that is a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
In running world.
Yeah.
If he's going to make his move, now is the time. 0.3 miles to go.
Before they come into the finish line, top U.S. women today, we had Fiona O'Keefe, Emma Bates, and Emily Sisson.
Yeah.
ABC 7 here in New York has joined us now for the finish of the men's race. You are looking at the 2024 United Airlines NYC Half champion, Abel Kipchumba, about to break the tape here in 2025 as well to become just the second ever back-to-back champion of this great race.
Well, there's something about coming back to New York as a defending champion. You want to leave as the current champ, and that's what he wanted. This is a big day for him. What a great way for him to go into his Boston Marathon. Lots of confidence he's going to gain from this win today. But knowing that Connor Mance is right there.
And knowing that he pushed Connor. He pushed the guy who likes to push the group.
Yep.
The event record, 59:24.
Connor Mance is still closing. I don't think he's going to get him, but he is closing.
He is going to try so hard.
For the second year in a row, Abel Kipchumba is your United Airlines NYC Half champion, and he does so with a new event record. The second one we've seen here today. Connor Mance of the U.S. finishing in second. A great race on the men's side. Two wonderful competitors acknowledging each other at the end, pushing each other to the limits. And what a finish here in Central Park.
So strong. Connor Mance now again running that fast in 59 minutes. I know it's not an American record course, eligible course, but he's got to be excited about that.
Absolutely.
So fast. And Hillary Bohr.
Here comes Hillary Bohr coming
Another
into the
American headed to the finish line. Hillary Bohr.
Gritting it all the way to the finish. Another very strong performance.
You know, he's done back-to-back-to-back races lately. He did Houston, then he did the Publix half, and then he did this half. He's building such a base. He's doing so well, Hillary Bohr. You know, two-time Olympian in the steeplechase. Now he can run the half marathon like that. It's pretty awesome.
Speaking of awesome, Connor Mance holding up the red, white, and blue. A great day for the Americans here in New York. We had an event record on the women's side, an event record on the men's side. Just a great day of racing here on the streets of the Big Apple. You can continue to watch coverage of the United Airlines NYC Half. You can do so over on our app, ABC7NY, ESPN Plus, or on the New York Roadrunners app. Pedro and Tony, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
And the great Kaylee Flanagan coming across the finish. Way to go, Kaylee.
Now our live stream continues here on ABC7NY and ESPN Plus. Two Americans in the top three on the men's side. You're looking at Grand Central Station. Runners making their way through the soggy streets of Manhattan. Fog, a big storyline today, as runners traverse the Brooklyn Bridge for the first time ever in a New York Roadrunners race. How about that look? Just ran 13.1 miles, but you never know it. Doesn't even look out of breath. It's always amazing to me.
Is Hillary Bohr breathing?
Yeah, he's just hanging out.
There you have it.
Wow.
So a new event record set by almost 20 seconds on the men's side.
Just such great races, like, you know, lead changes, and there was a pretty good pack. It was awesome today. They ran really well. I'm really excited for what's going to happen this spring.
Those arms, here she comes, get across that finish line. Way to go, kid. Big smile here at United Airlines NYC Half.
Abel Kipchumba, our first back-to-back winner in this race. The only other time it's happened, 2008, 2009, Ethiopia's Tadis Tola. Now we have another back-to-back winner here at the United Airlines NYC Half. One of our other fun storylines here this morning, the kids race, Times Square. That's where Brittany Bell rejoins us now. Hi, Brittany.
Hey, Ryan, so you can feel the energy. I'm in Times Square for the kids race that starts pretty soon. We have the first wave at 7:35. Okay, kids, are you ready to run? Yeah! I'm ready! Yeah, so they are clearly excited. This is just a representation of about 1,500 kids that are participating in the Times Square Kids Run. It's a mile race, a very easy course. You run straight, you turn around, and you come right back. And you can just tell from the energy that they are just really just looking forward to being outside and participating. It's kids of all different ages and abilities, from 2 all the way to 18. So the cool thing about this is that you have the professional runners that were running past Half. So they had the opportunity to share the course with the professional runners. So just something that you don't always have the opportunity to do so. And a lot of the kids participating are part of the New York Roadrunners, the Rising New York Roadrunners, and that is a nationwide organization, a free organization, and that goal is to get kids active, and you can clearly see they are accomplishing that goal with everyone out here today. So once again, the race starts, I believe, at 8:35. There's another wave at 10, and just kids of all ages who are coming out here and getting active. It's gloomy, but that is not stopping the excitement here in Times Square. Ryan?
The gloominess can't put a damper on today's events. Brittany, thank you. Seeing the kids so fired up, that was awesome to see. You know, my partners here today, Carrie and Bex, had the same reaction when I asked them if they were ready for today's race. Screaming, yelling. I wish you all could have seen it. It was something to see.
In the dark this morning.
Yeah, in the dark this morning. We had to fire each other up.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Talking of that energy, Ryan, here are our everyday runners coming up towards Times Square. They are on the final part, really, of their race today as well. They're going to be heading through Times Square and then into Central Park for those few twists and turns. They have all had the same course and the same weather as our professional athletes today. They've all put in the same hard work, and we are here to celebrate every single runner of the 25,000 people who are here today completing the United Airlines NYC Half. They've trained through a miserable winter, if they've trained on the East Coast, that's for sure.
There's a live look at our women's champions, Sharon Lokedi, Fiona O'Keefe.
Callie Helger-Thackeray's husband just went through
finished,
but big props to Sharon.
Family affair.
Yeah.
She can get her commitments done and go and hug her husband.
Yes. And everyone is excited to see Fiona O'Keefe back. You know, she's such a young, bright star for American distance running, and for her to have such devastating injuries at the Olympics where she had to pull out right early on in the race.
A mile into it.
Yeah.
And here she is 7 months later.
I know.
Truly, truly awesome. Look at the happiness on all of these faces. Here are some of our runners at the mile 5 marker, still not able to see that beautiful view.
But can we talk about to be a runner and running through the iconic Brooklyn Bridge for the first time ever in a New York Roadrunners race, and to have it all to yourself? How cool is that?
And they'll probably go back next year to the Manhattan Bridge, or don't we know that?
I don't think we know right now. Yeah, it's up to Ted Metellus and the race director and the team, I guess. One of the wonderful things about this, though, is this was a newly laid road. I don't work for the NYC department of whatever, but that road is newly laid, so the runners have a really lovely experience on there as well, under their feet. You know, New York is known for its potholes.
Yeah.
So it's obviously something that
it's a well-traveled city, right?
It's a well-traveled city. We have.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what, Carrie, you brought up a good point about will they run the Brooklyn Bridge next year. The reason they're doing it this year is because construction has taken over the Manhattan Bridge, which is where the runners have been running over since 2018.
Right.
But this
and
year
I'm
they get the benefit.
It's easier to shut down the Manhattan Bridge, or no?
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Apparently so.
Bex is on the tour board here in New York City.
Well
just another thing for her to do.
On all the things that happen here in the 5 boroughs. Let's check in at the finish line now. Sam Ryan standing by with our women's wheelchair champion. Sam.
Yeah, Ryan, Manuela Schar, your 4th time winning it here at the NYC Half, first time on this course. Tell me a little bit about the difference and what you liked about this.
Yeah, I like this course much better than the old one. It seems faster because there are less bridges to climb, and I'm not a really good climber, so I always struggle in New York, so I really enjoyed this one.
Your first time winning here since 2022. When you made the move, what was the difference for you?
I think it was a really difficult day for us because weather-wise, it was so foggy, so you had to choose whether you would race in dry conditions or wet, and I think I just made the right call, and I went for my rain gear, so that turned out to be the right decision, and I think that made the difference today.
Your 4th time winning here, like I said a little bit earlier. What is it like to win here in New York?
Oh, it's always great to be in New York and to race in New York, and then to win. It's always fabulous. And I'm at a point of my career where I just tell myself to enjoy every single race because you never know, right? So I really enjoyed this morning.
Manuela, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Back to you.
Sam, Manuela, thank you. She's now a 3-time winner of the United Airlines NYC Half after winning the TCS New York City Marathon 3 times. And Switzerland's Manuela Schär denies American Susanna Scaroni a three-peat here today at the United Airlines NYC Half.
It's very interesting to see the different types of gear people wear, but especially the wheelers. They usually have, gloves that maybe put some,
grip.
What is it called? Like it's a different grip. It's
Different
like
grip, yep.
sandpaper.
Yes, yeah, so it's tacky.
Let's head back to the finish line. Sam Ryan has now caught up with our men's wheelchair champion. Sam.
Ryan, look who's with me, Geert Schipper, but I said Geert, and you said it. I didn't say it correctly again.
No, it is Geert, but Geert is okay for me, or GB or whatever. Something with a G is okay.
He says it so much better than us, doesn't he? Well, congratulations. You do it again. What was the excitement like for you this time around?
Now, doing things for the second time, you try to do better, but my time wasn't better. And I didn't expect to win today. Yesterday with the training, Evan Corral, he pushed me, he blown me away on an uphill part. And I was thinking, uh-oh, that's going to be a tough day today. But in the downhill section, I had a bit more speed than him, and I could make a gap. And then the flat part near the coast, I think I make finally 2 minutes. And winning is always better than become second, or at least it gives a better feeling. But but I'm happy. I'm happy.
And you're happy also because your daughter's here with you. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Now she's 12, and sometimes she's a kid. Sometimes she's a small or a little adult already. But she's self-sustained. She can manage a lot of things by herself, and that's really, really what I like. And yesterday we were feeding the squirrels, for example, and she's sitting on the ground, and then you see how adorable it is to do stuff like this together with your kid. And she's sick from school for a few days, but I think those 2 days she learns way more than she can learn on the school. So maybe when the school principal asks, "Where have you been?" we find an excuse. We find one.
Oh, just feeding squirrels, and my dad was winning the NYC Half. Well, congratulations. I'm Sam Ryan, and you are?
Geert Schipper.
There you go. Back to you guys.
Let's go, Ryan. Let's go.
Go on, Ryan.
Jerry, you're supposed to have our Norwegian accent down here.
I'm going to call him GB.
I like GB.
Yes,
it's a much safer way to do
guy.
it. And his daughter had her Ferris Bueller moment here today.
Yes.
Caught on camera.
So
out
justified.
sick from school.
Yes.
I think we should take that. It's so interesting what he said.
Great parenting
Not expecting
advice,
to
right?
win today.
Not expecting to win.
He
He mentioned Evan Corral, the American who finished in second, but Geert Schipper, back-to-back champions.
Yep.
Back-to-back champion here at the United Airlines
Evan was
NYC
over
Half.
2.5 minutes behind him as well. I mean, that's how strong. Shit.
You gotta roll the R
I went
back.
really quiet. I went really quiet.
Well, we had an event record on both the men's and women's side today, and Sam Ryan is caught up with our men's champion here at the finish line. Sam.
Hey, Ryan, Abel Kipchumba, you won this last year as well. We were just talking about the course, and it was a little different. Event record. What did you like about this course?
This course is not much hill. It's very nice course. When you are in shape, you can run good. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit, we saw you and Connor going back and forth on the bridge a little bit, and then when you were making your way here to the park, you looked back a little bit. You knew he was there, but what's going through your mind?
My mind was looking back when I see the button who is near to me. He's coming, and I know that guy was so strong, so I was looking if he come near to me, so that to maintain my base.
When you sum it up, how do you sum it up when you cross that finish line? You know it's an event record.
I know that when I was alone, when I look back, nobody was following me. It was a bit behind me, but I noticed when I have run the course record.
Congratulations. Let's send it back to you.
Abel Kipchumba, just the second man ever to go back-to-back here at the United Airlines NYC Half, and he does it in an event record 59:09, a very crispy pace, as we've spoken about here
word of the
this
day.
morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Connor Mance did not let him go easy.
That was a wonderful race to watch, the two of them just showing their skills, showing their strength and stamina over 13.1 today. That was really phenomenal racing from everybody, but particularly it was great to see that.
Kipchumba and Mance going toe-to-toe up until about the final 2 miles or so, when Kipchumba started to get a little distance between the two. He finishes 6 seconds ahead of Connor Mance. The runners making their way through Times Square as well here today, just the second time ever, or second time I should say each year, that it's closed outside of New Year's Eve, closed to traffic, if you will, and Brittany Bell standing by as the kids race. Well, we're not going to Brittany just yet. We're going to go to Sam Ryan, who's with a big kid. Hi, Sam.
Hey there, I'm with Sharon Lucchini. We talked about the event record on the men's side, event record also on the women's side. I want to ask you a little bit about the move you made right before Times Square, because we saw the group was so close together. So what was the thought process there?
I mean, we came through up that hill, and I was like, you know, this is how I mean, I saw that it was like, I think 15K, and I'm like, this is where you make the move. And I think Fiona went up, and I was like, you know, I just saw that gap up, and I was like, okay, close it, and then just make sure you maintain that pace. And yeah, that's how I just kept going, and yeah.
So you said just maintain that. So what was the thought process then from that point here to the finish line?
It was just, I mean, just keep making those moves, like slow, like not too big, but a little bit, and just keep getting faster and faster as you go. I mean, at that point, you're so close to the finish line. And then as soon as we got to the Times Square, I'm like, just use the crowd as much as you can. And I mean, they did help me all the way through. So I just kept forward, and just, you know, now at that point, I was just thinking about time and, you know, getting to the finish line.
TCS New York City Marathon in 2022. Here now the NYC Half champion. What's it like to win here in New York?
It is good. I mean, I feel like this is giving me confidence going forward, and you know, it's amazing every time I'm out here. I feel like I have so many people that are cheering me on and supporting me, and that helps me every time I'm running, and I feel so strong and so confident. So I'm really grateful for the people out there, and you know, New York road runners as well, for always having me come back here and compete, and you know, so yeah.
Congratulations. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good luck in Boston.
Oh, yeah.
Bye.
Love the camaraderie in the running community.
I know, and she says she spends way too much money in New York, so get ready, New York.
Welcome to the club.
Absolutely.
Helen Obiri set the course record here in 2023. Her fellow countrywoman Sharon Lucchini setting a new course record here this morning, 1:07:04. Carrie, put that into perspective for us.
Wow.
How great of a time that was today.
It was an amazing time. She ran a lot of it on her own the last hard stages. So exciting to see her break the tape, not only in 26.2 miles throughout New York, but now here at 13.1.
And Bex, we talked about these conditions today, a little damp with the fog, a little cool, and they proved to be ideal conditions for the runners out there.
Absolutely. It was keeping you kind of cool in this temperature. You're not worried too much about any of the hydration things when it's too hot. And I think, weirdly, maybe not being able to see all those sights over the bridge maybe kept people in the zone. I'm going to go with that today. We didn't get sidetracked. We had the fog taking it down. But yeah, it wasn't wet enough that it was slippy underfoot coming through the trees in Prospect Park, coming through the trees here in Central Park, and, you know, the grime of Times Square. But
Smoking like a true New Yorker.
Yeah, right? I can't say that.
No, it's the truth. But it was a wonderful day. I really do think it was in many ways perfect. Perfect weather for ducks and runners.
Perfect weather for 2 event records as well. The day started with the wheelchair races, and on the men's side, our man GB proved to be the man to beat.
I mean, clearly loves to come here, and actually there's Evan Carell up in front. He was worried about him, but once he went by him, he put it away, and he really was excited to get back here and have a little fun with his daughter now.
Yep, hope she doesn't get in trouble with her school principal when she gets back. But lessons learned of watching her father win this wonderful race for a second time.
Look at that, going through Times Square.
Iconic.
Just loving it. You know, this course and this race really elevated his game last year, so I think we're going to see big things from him in 2025.
Yurt Schipper going back-to-back here at the United Airlines NYC Half again. No Daniel Romanchuk today. Missed this race because of blood clots, but he's doing okay. We are happy to hear that. 47-year-old Yurt Schipper celebrating his big win here today in 49.53, and then a strong American contingent on the leaderboard. 6 of the top 8 finishers from the USA. Now to the women's side. Manuela Schär, Susanna Scaroni. That was our head-to-head battle we were keeping an eye on today. And Manuela Schär, Carrie, proved to be the woman to beat.
Just really off the gun. She went to the front and she didn't really relish that lead at all. She was somebody that a lot of athletes, Susanna Scaroni in particular, said she really wanted to get in front of because she has such great kicks. She's coming off of the Paralympic Games in Paris where she had the gold in the 800 meters and the silver in the 400 meters. So you wonder how her endurance is. Well, clearly today she showed she's back and she's fit.
She did. She did absolutely amazingly well. As you say, that Tatiana and Susanna didn't get the chance to get into that draft, but this is all of her hard work and all of her experience, Carrie. Her years of experience racing really showed through today, and there she is, another pride of Switzerland.
The 40-year-old Swiss star, a 3-time champion of the TCS New York City Marathon, now a 3-time champ here at the United Airlines NYC Half, and she finished more than 4 minutes ahead of second place, Tatiana McFadden. Just an impressive performance here by Manuela Schär. And speaking of the ladies, we saw an event record on the women's side today, Carrie.
Yeah, Susanna Sullivan off the line quick, but man, it was a big pack, kind of all the big names, all the big players through most of this race.
Yeah, they stuck together solidly over the Brooklyn Bridge. They came off, and then Sharon Lokedi got herself to that 10-mile marker, and she made the break. She trusted her training, and she went with it all the way to the finish line.
Look at this shot right here.
Unreal.
It was still dark out. She had the streets to herself.
Stayed strong.
Yeah.
And then the finish, seeing Fiona O'Keefe and Callie Hogan-Thackeray battling to get the times that they so deserve over this distance today was absolutely wonderful. There's the 3 of them together, smiling brightly.
And they're all looking at each other, right? I mean, they've all been doing so well. As we can see these results, Diane Van Ness coming back here again, having a phenomenal top 5 finish again. Amy Eloise Neal, you know her very well. And Emma Bates.
Emma Bates
has been through some injuries here and there as well. Didn't make that Olympic team because she couldn't run the Olympic trials last year. She's back. She's getting ready for Boston as well.
Sharon Lokedi with an event record on the women's side, and on the men's side, our defending champion also setting a new course, or I should say, event record here today.
Abo Kipchumba, like kind of in the pack, but not really the one pushing the pace as we're watching Connor Mance until once he took that lead, he really started to put the hammer down.
Exactly. It was sort of this, as they came off of the bridge, Abo took the confidence and led the way. We saw Connor not liking it. We saw some games being played as they exited the Times Square environment. There was a bit of to and froing, and there he was, right just cruising ahead by himself, checking his shoulder, but he had it. He had it all the way to the finish line again.
But big props to Connor Mance. He did not give in. I mean, look at him fight for every second. He doesn't like to get beat. He doesn't like to get beat by 2 seconds, 3 seconds, 4 seconds. So he was grinding it out, trying to get as close as he could. And a big, big shout out to Hillary Bohr. Has done so well. Over 4th here last year, 3rd here this year.
2 American men on the podium today.
Wesley Kiptu is actually still Kenyan. It says he's American there, but yeah, he is having a phenomenal year as well.
I wanted to take this time to apologize to Manuela Schar. I keep calling her a 3-time United Airlines NYC Half champion. She's won 4 times.
She's won 4.
When I printed off my notes, somehow the 2017 championship did not get printed.
It's a hard
so
thing
I've been
when you win
adding
that
up
many.
incorrectly, yes. When you have too many to count, that's a good problem to have.
It's a
right?
fantastic problem to have.
Well, she is a sweetheart, so she will forgive
Yes, she
you.
is. Well, listen, it's been a great day of racing, to say the least, and one of our other favorite parts of today was the kids' race in Times Square. That is where Brittany Bell joins us now. Hi, Brittany.
Hey Ryan, yeah, so I'm in the middle of all the action. This is the start of the kids race. We're seeing a lull right now because some of the kids just wrapped up, but there are also kids lining up, getting ready to run their mile race, an easy course. You run one way and you come back. But to my left, a lot of the runners are filling in, so it is turning active. You're hearing the cheers and people yelling and screaming, and this is a representation of about 27,000 people that are participating in this half marathon. But back over to the kids race, about 1,500 kids participating in this run from ages 2 all the way to 18. Speaking of 2 years old, they are going to start their event close to 10 o'clock. I watched it last year. It was the cutest thing ever. You see people yelling and laughing. There's some tears too, but it's just great to see all these kids just being active, getting outside, and who knows, one day some of those kids participating in the youth race, they're going to be to my left participating in the half marathon and maybe even the marathon in the future. Ryan?
All right, Brittany, thank you. Such a great day of racing here at the United Airlines NYC Half. We're already looking ahead to the TCS New York City Marathon in November, and now you can enter for a chance to win up to 2 of 15 free entries to the 2025 TCS New York City Marathon. All you have to do is visit nyrr.org/marathon sweeps to enter and for official rules. No purchase necessary. For more, you can also just scan the QR code there here on the screen. Well, Ideal Conditions saw 2 event records here today on the streets of New York City, as we saw more than 27,000 runners make their way through the streets of the Big Apple. Event records by Sharon Lokedi and Abel Kipchumba. Podium finishes for Americans Fiona O'Keefe, Connor Mantz, and Hillary Bohr. And excellent wheelchair performances as well. What a day. We are so happy you were along with us for the ride. For Kerry Tullifson, Bex Gentry, Sam Ryan, Brittany Bell, and our entire team here at ABC7 NY, I'm Ryan Field. Thanks so much for watching the United Airlines NYC Half. Make it a great Sunday, friends.